Well, hello, people. Another weekly talk of daily inspirations. What we always usually do is just I go over the last 7 daily inspirations, and then you guys choose, and we go from there. Choose which one you want. Okay,
Uh,
here we go. July 22nd. You are forever worthy of God's loving embrace. July 23rd. A key to your journey is your joy. July 24th. The sacred nature of every moment. July 25th. Creating an active, living to-do list for your soul. July 26th, which advisor will we listen to and follow today? July 27th, ending our support of judgment and self-judgment. And July 28th, the power of checking in on yourself throughout the day.
So if anybody, I thought July 25th was interesting, but I'm open to anyone.
Creating an active living to-do list for your soul. That one? Yes, Amir?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The condensed version is 2 paragraphs long, so I'll go ahead and read paragraph 1 and maybe 2 together. Okay, the title, Creating an Active Living To-Do List for Your Soul. Paragraph 1, today, let us take greater personal responsibility for how we choose to spend our moments throughout the day. The accumulation of these moments will become the life that we end up offering to this world. In order to become more aware of how we are spending our time, let us create 2 lists. On the first, let us write down what is helping us create the life we want. What are the thoughts, words, emotions, actions, reactions, interactions, and beliefs that are moving us towards our desired destination? On the second list, let us write down what is in some way blocking or impeding us from creating and living the life we want. These will be living lists that will grow and shorten, ebb or flow with the choices that you make on a daily basis. That's paragraph 1. And then paragraph 2. Today, on the first list, add the activities, thoughts, beliefs, and relationships that bring you joy, passion, fulfillment, trust, love, self-love, and inner peace. On the other list, write down the activities, thoughts, beliefs, and relationships that bring up judgment, self-judgment, struggle, stress, anxiousness, anger, and despair. Both of these lists are of equal importance and should be questioned, thought about, and updated on a regular basis. Do not feel bad about the dark thoughts, for they will simply help you better see and define what you no longer want. This activity gives you a clearer picture of the life you do want. Now, any belief or program response that is not supporting the life you want is simply recognized, forgiven, and no longer supported with your time, focus, and energy. Now, the same time, focus, and energy can be dedicated to the activities, energies, and emotions that will help you sing your soul song. And paragraph 2. All right. And so it's pretty simple. It's simply about being more self-aware of where are you spending your day and deciding, okay, what kind of life do I want? Do I want a life of joy and peace and compassion and mercy and grace? If so, then I have to practice consciously focusing my time and energy on the thoughts, words, and actions that will help me deliver to me the goal I want. And so that's all we have to do. It's pretty simple, but it's a good exercise to just become a little more self-aware. What judgmental thoughts am I thinking about myself or others that are impeding my path to the life that I want? Where am I holding on to resentment, anger, jealousy, hate, a sense of revenge? None of this delivers to me the life that I want, that I truly want. And so it's just simply being a little bit more self-aware and then consciously catching yourself when you're out of alignment with your goal, and then placing yourself back on your goal's path. And so any comments or questions?
So we make a list of things that we think are holding us back. For example, I have a lot of self-judgment. It's like a huge thing. Self-judgment is like a big, it's like 24 by 7. Bad behavior, bad habits, something I learned. So every day, every moment we want to practice, I want to practice that I'm not judging myself.
Okay, so first let's begin the statement in a positive fashion instead of a quote unquote negative fashion. Okay. So what kind of life do you want? Give me 3 adjectives about the kind of life you want.
Abundance, gratitude, joy.
Okay. Abundance, gratitude, and joy. Okay. So a thought of self-judgment comes to your mind, right? What you want to do is you want to practice shifting that thought to one of your first 3 thoughts. Okay, a thought of self-judgment comes in. That's you say to yourself, okay, that thought is not going to deliver to me the life I want. Okay. So thank you, self-judgment thought, because you're showing me where I'm spending my time, where I do not want to spend my time. And so you start offering gratitude to your self-judgmental thoughts for helping you see that that's not the kind of path you want to travel. And so when you see that, then you make a conscious decision not to reinforce those self-judgment thoughts with your time, focus, or energy. And so you forgive your self-judgment thought. And you forgive anybody who's in alignment with that thought. And then slowly but surely, you decrease the time of energy and time you put into those self-judgment thoughts. And you increase your time in gratitude. And the more time you spend in gratitude, guess what happens? The more time you spend in joy. Being joyous because you're heading towards the goal you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of life we all want is an abundant life. And so when you have joy and gratitude as your constant companions, you experience a life of abundance where you can, when this gratitude and joy can overfill from you, and then you can practice offering it to everybody and all who comes your way.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. So go ahead and tell me next time a self-judgment thought comes in, what are you going to do?
Be grateful to it and say, this is showing me what I don't want. So it's actually guiding me towards what I really want. So instead of being upset at myself, judgment, be grateful towards that. I have gratitude towards it. And then the gratitude opens up the doors for joy and abundance. So what I've learned something from you, I guess, also from the courses, the things that you don't want, while they may be upsetting, but they're kind of something to be grateful for because they're guiding you to what you do want.
Yeah.
Something is kind of pushing you in that direction and saying,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's not the direction you want to go. So how do you know how you're going to change direction unless the system didn't tell you? It's like an auto correction system that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah,
Uh,
like we talked about before in class, when you miss your exit on the GPS system, it doesn't tell you that you're an idiot. It just tells you, it shifts the direction and it tells
mm,
you which way to go, right?
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm,
so that's all
mhm.
you have to do is just practice being as smart as your GPS and as gentle and as graceful as your GPS system in your car.
Right, right.
And so this is good news because the power to shift your life resides within your mind, nowhere out there. nowhere out there in the world, it's not because of your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend or your mom or whatever that you don't have a life of gratitude and joy and abundance.
Mhm, mhm,
Because you're making the conscious choice to either focus on gratitude and joy or focus away from gratitude and joy towards self-judgment.
mhm.
And that's very good news because you have the power. The outside world doesn't have the power over you. You have the power. So you can create your own heaven on earth. Equally so, you can create your own hell on earth by supporting those self-judgment thoughts. And so every day, if you find yourself in hell, just remember that nobody put you there. You put yourself there by the choices you made of which thoughts you would support.
Mhm.
But you can also open up that gate and leave hell by deciding to no longer focus on hellish thoughts and instead focus on heavenly thoughts of gratitude, of joy, of abundance. And then that delivers to you the light that you were created to be, that aligns you with your light. And the more you support those thoughts as real and true, the more you remember that you're worthy of them, the brighter and brighter they shine, and the more and more you're able to offer them to everybody that God sends your way. And so how did you become that person that was able to offer all that abundance and gratitude and joy to everybody else? It was those self-judgment thoughts that started the process. And so if you start to see those self-judgment thoughts and any quote unquote negative thought as simply one of your signs on your highway, one of those U-turn signs,
Mhm.
then now those things the ego would condemn you for or say they're bad or ugly, no, they were helpful on your journey. And if something is helpful on your journey, what's the proper response to something or someone who's helpful on your journey?
Gratitude.
Gratitude. And so imagine a life where not only are you grateful for the beautiful things that happen in your life, not only are you grateful for the good things that happen in your life, or the pretty things and gentle things, but now, because you're more self-aware of how every moment is here to help you awaken, now you're grateful to all the uh, less than beautiful things, according to the ego. And
Mhm.
so, what happens now? Now you're grateful for each and every moment, no matter how the moment presents itself. Your response to it, once you start to awaken, is gratitude. When you are awakened, your primary response to every moment is gratitude. And the more grateful you become, the more you align with the mind of God. And the more you start to remember who in truth created you. Perfection. Because perfection only creates perfectly. And so no matter what your ego has taught you about yourself, none of that is true other than the perfection that you are. And when people can't see that, this doesn't say anything about you. It speaks about them being asleep to who they truth it and who in truth they are. And you don't have to judge them, because why would you judge somebody who's sleeping? What's the point? Even if they're picking you up while they sleep.
Mhm.
When you have a child in bed with you and the child kicks you in his nightmare or her nightmare, you don't punish the child. You just turn the child to the other side and let him pick your partner. And you go gently back to sleep. But that sleep, that is a symbol of truly being awake, because you're asleep to all the delusions of the world. The only response to the world is gratitude and appreciation. And then if you walk hand in hand with gratitude, you'll walk hand in hand with joy, and you'll live an abundant life. And people will come to you and say, "What are you doing? what are you reading? And then you start to share with them all the stuff that you're doing that helped you let go of the delusion and come back into alignment with the truth in you and all of us. And then that way you'll guide your brothers and sisters back to the light in them by simply being a light in the world. And that's your job. That's your one and only, pardon me, that's your one and primary job on this planet, is simply in every moment, in every interaction, offer an expression of love that the moment or individuals in that interaction or activity seem to be requesting from you. So if they're stuck in judgment and resentment and anger and confusion, chaos and jealousy and hate and revenge, and you're able to show them a way to grace and mercy and compassion and understanding and peace, then you reinforce that in you. And they, because that's the truth in them, they begin to remember it as their own, that they too are worthy of all those expressions. And that in every moment they can choose peace instead of pain. They can choose forgiveness instead of judgment, and compassion instead of condemnation, and thus create a heaven instead of a hell on earth. And so that is that. Any questions or comments? Isabella, I think you're muted if you're trying to talk.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
my mic. Okay, good. Wow. Yes, as you were talking, I was taking notes, and I was thinking on an interaction that I had recently where we were exchanging thoughts, and then I know sometimes when the one of us moves a little bit like away. Oh, what do you think if we better do this and do that and move separate ways, and maybe that's better. I go like, if I support that thought, I know how it is. I know how it is for her, and I know how it is for me. Because even though if our path will go separate ways, but by saying it and by enforcing it, it's already causing us pain, because I know in our interaction, by saying, oh, you know what, it's better I move my own way so I can date somebody else, so I can heal, but there is love between each other. I know it's nice when we interact, and at times we see this healthy and sometimes unhealthy. And then I was like, and at other times before I would have said, yeah, it's good that you just go and Then I was like, today I was seeing, I'm not gonna support those thoughts, because then I wanna feel guilty. That I wanna say, yes, you rather not call me, close contact, and cut contact, block me, because it's sometimes been like that, our interactions in the past. So I didn't go that way, and instead I switch into how it makes us feel, how it makes somebody else feel. We don't know exactly, because I always don't know if what's the plan that God has for us, right? At the end, what I do know is that love is healing. Love is something that comes out of my own judgment, out of my own, what can I say, initiative. It's something that to me, to express it and to be kind, and coming to an agreement on something that it's good for both. I guess it's natural, it flows. Than instead of going with my ego and saying, hey, because we are less than, not worthy of, or communication doesn't flow, or the communication sometimes doesn't flow between two people when there is ego in between, right? Because somebody wants to be right, somebody wants to, instead of having a nice relationship, trying to cut like this, black or white. And So what I'm seeing is that it came to my mind, when she was saying, "Hey, you're silent. You are you?" Because it was on the phone. Are you texting or what? I said, "No, I was thinking on loving thoughts, on what love could say, on what is something more loving to do here." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And it switched the energy right there, because I thought on mercy, I saw on compassion, I thought about this understanding. Sometimes even if we don't want to accept situations, but we still understand, comes from a point of compassion, coming from a point of compassion. So how easy could be, our life when we practice these expressions of love, these expressions of um, I don't know, moving beyond the judgment. It's seeing the gratitude, as Samir said, seeing that it's giving you some homework to do when you feel triggered about something. It's like, okay, you need to move in certain direction. There's something else here to do. So I can, let me feel grateful that thank you to this, I could go ahead and read and find out what is this situation that is bothering me. Thank you for the opportunities, the enlightenment that Samir brought. Like, okay, what will you do, as you, James, asked, in case of judgment, and finding the gratitude, opening up for new opportunities of joy and peace.
Yeah, and anytime you're in any kind of doubt about your journey or the journey of your partner,
Mm-hmm.
use that moment not to dive deeper into a darkness, not to add doubt to doubt or pain, doubt to pain, or pain to doubt. Don't go deeper into the darkness of the anxiousness about your journey or your partner's journey. Instead, use those moments to practice trusting the divine design, which means practice trusting God more. Anytime doubt, anxiousness, fear, confusion, worry comes into your mind about your journey or anybody else's journey, that's a perfect opportunity to practice trusting that God, being love and perfection, and being your true Father, that He only has your best interest in mind, and that you co-created a perfect and divine journey with God. And so your journey, no matter what the ego says about it, is perfect for you. And we're all one, right? So her journey, no matter what her ego or your ego says about it, is perfect for her. And so no matter how the ego defines your future, when you make the conscious decision not to see through the ego's lens, because if you see your relationship or your life through the ego's lens, that's where doubt and anxiousness and fear and worry come in. And so when you're doubting your relationship or your partner's relationship or your journey, doubt is a symbol that you are not in control of your mind. Your ego is. Your past programs are. And so you have to learn to recognize that. Okay, I have doubt right now. That means I am not in control of my mind. I'm not in control of my thoughts. Let me not punish myself for this. Let me not punish my partner for this. Let me instead use this very same moment to practice trusting God more. And remembering that perfect love always has my back. And so my journey is going to be sacred. And her journey is going to be sacred and good. And when you trust that, you have peace. And when you're viewing your experience through the lens of trust, that means you're viewing your experience in alignment with the mind of God, where your mind truly belongs in each moment. And so the more you get to practice trusting God instead of your doubts and fears and worries, the more you start to see that, the more peace you start to experience, and the less worry you become, and the less worry for her you become, because you know that she's in God's hands, and there's no better hands than that. And if you think about her, just close your eyes, and just anytime thought comes up about her, just close your eyes and say a prayer, a loving prayer, and talk to God and tell him that you know that he's in control and that all will be all right, and that you put her in his hands. And every time you do, you practice that interaction, that thought of her is actually helping you practice trusting God more. And in the same way that you're practicing God, trusting God more, you're practicing remembering that you're worthy of God's companionship. Because each time you go to God, you consciously go to God, you're unconsciously training yourself that you're worthy of God's presence in your life. And so what is your partner or ex-partner truly doing in reality? After all is said and done, what is she truly doing? She's helping you remember that you're worthy of God's companionship. And that in any moment, you can choose peace instead of the ego's delusions and tools. And so when you remember that that's what your ex-partner is doing, she's just simply helping you awaken to who you truly are. Now your response to her and your past with her is one of gratitude and appreciation, not of any sort of judgment or pain or struggle. And so offer her your gratitude, silent as it may be, that she's helping you awaken to who you truly are and what you truly deserve in life, which is to walk hand in hand with your Creator. And that's what your Creator created you to do. He wants you to reflect his love, which is truly your love, on earth. And by you having that peace around you, because you know that everything's exactly as it's supposed to be, you become a beacon of peace for others. And then others who are stuck in the storm of the ego will start looking for shelter in you and around you. And then you'll start to wonder, why are all these people coming to me? It's because I'm at peace. And they're not at peace, but they're somewhere in their hearts and minds, they're remembering that they're worthy of peace. And so that's why they come to you. They come to you to help them remember of what they're truly worthy of.
How beautiful.
Any other comments or questions? All right. So yeah, Isabel, if you weren't to run in the first few minutes, we were reading the July 25th Daily Inspiration, the condensed version. And it's about making the two lists. One of the thoughts and words and emotions that help you create the life you want, and the other list of creating a list of stuff or thoughts or emotions that are not helping you create the life you want. And so is anybody dealing with any thought or emotion that is blocking that peace and joy in their life?
What do you think about this emotion of jealousy? Um, like I have a relationship with my ex-husband, if I could say this. I always go home and check on things, check the house. It's still my house, we still own it together. I moved in my apartment, and this causes jealousy on my actual partner. And what do you think? People think once you divorce, cut sharp, no more, close the door, that's it. He's a good man. It's a nice, friend, the father of my daughters. I feel like, still have a relationship. It's been 20 years. He is a good man. And, my divorce has nothing to do with how even being a bad man or a father or treating me abusive, nothing like that. It was me, the one that wanted to honor my own gender or my own, sexuality, and I came out, gay, of course. So, and I divorced him, and it was a little painful after, but he helped me. He supported me a lot on this journey. So how do you see once you divorce someone, it's like you don't contact anymore because of that, so you can start a new life, or you still have space, like this is what in my inclination. I say I'm a spiritual person. I feel like I always will give him an honor and space in my life as I honor and space in my life to my partner, my new partner. I don't go like erase one life and start a new one. I don't feel, that's nice. I don't think that's kind.
Well, to simplify it is, if you do what always brings you peace, you're going to have peace.
Right.
So whatever it is that brings you peace and how you relate to your ex-husband or ex-partner, just do whatever brings you peace. Whatever else somebody else is feeling about that, that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to be in alignment with the state of peace. Your responsibility, as of course would say, is the miracle. The miracle's extension, that's God's responsibility. So if you're hanging with your ex-husband and your partner or ex-partner gets jealous about that, that's her issue.
But then she's going to make her life miserable by throwing tantrums and all that stuff. And that's going to trigger her and all that. So how would she? That is upsetting. She's going to express her dislike of her behavior or her choices.
Well, you make a conscious decision to see only the truth in them as true. And so you can only do two things ever. Either you can offer love or you can call for love. Okay? So whatever she's doing that's less than loving in nature, all that is a call for love. And so all you do is offer some expression of love that might help her in that moment. And whatever she's saying that's unloving in nature is not real or true. And so, like Mike always says, somebody calls you a tree, are you going to get upset because somebody called you a tree? And so if somebody says something unloving to you, are you going to get upset because they're saying something that is not real? Okay. All the truth in them can say to you is some form of love. If they're not offering you some form of love, then the truth in them is not in control of their mind and thinking. And so if you see a delusional person on the street, are you going to condemn them for being delusional? Are you going to shout at them when they're shouting at you? No, you're just going to say a little prayer for them and give them some water or something and bless them and let them go on their way. And so just offer them love. That's all they're asking for in whatever way you can. And whatever they say about you that's less than loving in nature is not real or true. It's only true if you allow the ego to take over your mind. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, Isabel, good evening. I don't think we've met. My name is Maria Triana. They call me Mari. So I wanted to share something with you. And I wanted to ask you the jealousy. There's always a reason why it surfaces. And then the other thing that I wanted to ask you is, you are saying wonderful things about your ex-husband and the fact that you've shared children with him. And I think it's also important for you to have peace, but also for your children to have peace and to see a loving relationship between you and your ex-husband. When we are given the gift of bringing children into the world, it is a gift of love, pure love from our Father, the Creator, to us as being vessels. And in terms of the person that you have a relationship with now, if there's understanding about that, there's nothing more harmonious than everybody being in a circle of love. Your past is your past. Your ex-husband is part of your past. The new person in your life is your future and your present, or your present. But your children are also part of the equation of the life that you have. And to a certain degree, even if our children become adults, we want to offer them the best that we can. And a loving relationship between you and your ex-husband is a vehicle of healing for your children. At least that's how I see it.
That is something that I think responsible parents should do. I'm in my journey and the mistakes as well, and I don't think I'm being the best, but one of the things that we try to do is in front of them show respect. When we work together, show love. When we travel together, have vacations together, was nice and everything. My girls still travel together with him, travel with me and my partner, and things like that. So when I offered the therapy, my girl said, "No, mom, we don't need this. We can imagine we're fine. We're fine." So that's why I try to keep always that they are doing well. And I know I did hurt them. I know it's not that easy. It's something that I keep. It hurts the idea, the ego, the love never hurts, but the idea that, oh, my parents are not together. However, they understand that there is respect, and we respect each other's journey, and he supported me. And this lady is very nice and smart and loving as well. That's why I still have her in my life, with some, weakness like I do have as well. And interpretations, of course, it comes sometimes to jealousy, or if I maybe overdo it, and I'll go there, and sometimes I stay in the house. Anyway, the thing here is that what we do with James and with his meetings is always working on our emotions, what's helping us go towards love, what's keeping us away from love. So and as it is, many times what is giving me peace sometimes is not giving peace to somebody else. And as you guys say, depends on the lens, how you see things. Because the moment when we see it from the ego side, even when I will be praying, they may think I'm praying for something, for separation or something. So, and it may trigger. People are sometimes adding their ego. If you talk to them about God, about mercy, about, I pray for you, God has the perfect plan, they will say something that I guess not the moment. So I learned myself to navigate around, still praying in my inside, and not bring God. I'm bringing God in myself, in my loving actions at the moment. Sometimes I lost it. Sometimes I haven't. I forgot. But the more present, I guess, that we can have that with loving thoughts and kindness and mercy and compassion, the result is not that bad. The result is always peace. If somebody else is not seeing the peace right there, they will see it later. But our actions and our words have to match right there. So thank you.
One thing about guilt is, when you divorce There's always a certain amount of guilt, especially when you have children.
Mhm.
But we have to remember that we all co-created our journeys with God. And so they, on a high level, understood that they were coming into a life experience where their parents would become divorced. But still, even though they knew that, they chose that. They chose you and your ex-husband,
Mhm.
knowing that later on you guys were going to separate, and there were some lessons that the kids were going to learn from that separation. Whatever
How
those were.
interesting.
Yeah,
How interesting. They
yeah,
choose us. Los
Yeah.
kids choose us.
yeah. They chose you guys,
Going separate. Oh my God.
and they knew you were going to be separated at some point, and that separation was going to teach them certain lessons that they could not learn unless you separated. And
It
so,
gave a lot of learning.
yeah,
Learning how to cook, how to clean, how to take care of themselves, how to go to church with the father, how to incredible how much, growth.
yeah. So there's no need to have guilt in relation to any separation, because especially when it comes to your kids, because your kids already knew that coming in, and they're going to learn whatever lessons they're going to learn from that, and that's what they came here for. If they needed some lessons of a marriage of 30, 40 years, then they would have come into another partnership, you know. Well, they chose you guys because you guys were the best fit for what they wanted to learn, and so there's no need to have guilt in relationships in relation to some breakup in a partnership. And so don't carry your past with guilt, because that's not what God wants. God just
Wow.
God just wants you
What
to,
a key moment. Thank you. Feel lighter.
yes, because if you have guilt, then you block your light.
I've had some
Yeah,
moments.
that's because you were programmed by the ego to have that. Because
Mm,
the ego wants you to feel separate from God. Because imagine if you have guilt and God is perfect, then obviously you cannot be part of a perfect God, because you are carrying guilt. And that's exactly what the ego wants. The ego wants you to think, you cannot be a part of God. Therefore, you must be part of me, the ego. Because the ego wants you to use it and its tools. Because if you don't use its mindset and tools, guess what? It begins to dissolve away and die away. And so then the ego has to convince you to feel guilty, to feel shame, to feel sadness, because that aligns you with the ego's mindset, and that keeps the ego alive. The ego doesn't really care about you. It just wants you to go ahead and suffer and be something other than love, so that you can think that you really need the ego. But when you remember that God is perfect and only creates perfectly, and each one of us has a divine journey in place, there's no more need for guilt. We always do the best we can in every moment with the spiritual, emotional, and physical tools that we have available to us at that moment. And so we are always doing the best we can. And so why should you feel guilty about doing the best you can? Why should you feel judgmental about your husband because he did the best he could? So there's no need to carry any kind of guilt. There's no need to carry any form of judgment, because that's not what you're here for. You're here to let that go and shine bright and be a loving example to your daughters. That even after the breakup, you can still share love and be loved with your ex-husband. And that shows them whatever lessons they came here to learn. And the lessons that only your separation could teach. And once we return back home to heaven, we'll see that's true. We'll see how everything was really perfect for us and for our children. Any other comments or questions? Anybody dealing with some misperception
Thank
this
you.
week?
Aren't we all?
Anybody want to share?
So when we have these feelings of not good enough, that's a form of doubt. That's a form of ego control. That's saying, hey, I'm your friend. You're not good enough. Let me take care of you. That's kind of what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Because the ego wants you to separate yourself from God. Because if you separate yourself from God, quote unquote, separate, you can never do that, But in duality, you can think you can do that. And so the ego wants you on its side because it wants you to keep using it and its tools of self-doubt, of self-judgment. Because if you're using the ego's tools, the ego gets to survive and thrive through you. And
Isn't that
so,
what the ego is edge God out?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's what the ego is trying to do. But it's doing that for its survival, not for yours. And so when that happens, just be conscious, just be self-aware enough to remember that that's the ego who's trying to think for you. Say, thank you, ego. Okay, I get it. Nice try. Pat it on its little head, put it aside, and align with source.
So when we
Knowing
keep doing this over and over again, our synaptics rewire or fire a different way, and so it becomes the neuroscience changes in the brain. It's natural.
yes, and that's scientific. That's even scientific. The more one neuron with another neuron fire together, the better it gels. So you can gel the good stuff, or you can gel the other stuff. And so it's
Yesterday in the class, the stomach burn sensation. If her mom says something, eventually that'll go away because they're not going to fire.
yeah. When we're talking about in the class that when your mom says something about you that's less than loving, and it triggers something in your stomach, that's not from the moment. That's a past program that you have repeated over and over. Your mom says something that's less than loving, you react in a way that you think that's what she's saying is true. And so it gives you some sort of stomach ache. And so you've done that over and over and over and over again in your life. And now it's just what it seems to be like a normal response to you. But if it's not bringing you peace or health or happiness, then it's not a true response. It's not the response you're meant to be responding with. And so just say, okay, my mom said this X or Y about me. Okay. My mom said that because that's not the truth in her saying that. Because if the truth in her was speaking to me, she could only say loving things about me. And so the thing is that she's not in control of her thinking and of her mind. And so she's not in control of what she's saying. It's just her past programs, her ego mindset, and her own past programs that are in control of her mind. And that's why she says what she says. And all you have to do is recognize that. This is not the truth my mom is speaking to me right now. This is just her past programs. But that's not the truth about her. The truth in her is only love. And so I'll see what she's saying to me as simply a call for help and healing from her to me. And so I'll offer my love to her in whatever forms I can offer my love to her in those moments. And when you do that, you won't have a stomach ache. You'll have peace. And God will be grateful to you because you're doing what you were meant to be doing in that moment. You're experiencing what the Course calls the holy instant. When you decide to choose in alignment with the mind of God. When you choose to call we're going to choose to answer a call for love with love. In each and every moment, that's what we're here for. If somebody says something loving to us, we love them back. If somebody calls for love, we answer that call for love with an expression of love. And when we do so, we have peace, we have a clear conscience, and we have joy, and we walk throughout the day, and the sun is always shining on us.
Before that, you did a lot of cleaning.
Yeah.
Like the miracle says, you know, one of the principles of the miracle course of miracles says, the only requirement is for a miracle to happen is to, you know, to clean ourselves, something like that. I will find it. And probably is to release the judgment, release fears, doubts, and resentments.
Simply let go of what's not supporting the life you want.
Mhm.
Practice letting go of any thought, word, action, interaction, reaction, relationship that is not delivering to you the peace of mind and joy that you, as God's child in creation, forever deserve. And so just practice every day. When the ego comes in, knocking at your mind's door, and it will, it always does. That's okay. It's just the little wolf knocking.
Does it come knocking at your door as well?
Yes, but it already knows I'm not answering,
Do not disturb.
and so it goes, "Oh, enjoy your knocking, enjoy your knocking, ego, because I'm not answering that door." I forgive it. I forgive myself for even hearing it, and I align with the opposite of what it demands. And so, if it's demanding judgment, I offer forgiveness. If it's demanding condemnation, I offer compassion. If it's demanding worry and anxiousness and doubt and fear, I trust God more. And so I use now the ego's knocks, not to open the door to it, but instead to do the opposite of what it's demanding. And then by doing so, I now use the ego, and I now make the ego my ally in my awakening process. And now everything the ego throws my way, I just know how to answer it. And I only know how to answer it. Why? Because the ego gave me so many opportunities to practice letting go of letting go of the thoughts, words, emotions, and actions that I don't want, and supporting the thoughts, words, actions, and reactions that I do want. And the ego offered me that practice. And so I don't look upon the ego with any malice. I now see it as an ally in my awakening process. And so thank you, ego. Oh, you want judgment? You know what, ego? I did that 100 times before, and it never delivered to me the state of peace. So thank you for your advice, but I'm not interested. And so you know how when you get a text, a political text on your phone, and then you're able to type in the word stop, and it can't text you back. That's what you do.
Good analogy.
Yeah. And so stop, and align with the thought, word, emotion that really delivers to you the life you want and deserve as God's child in creation. Remembering that you're here to be the light of the world in each moment and situation. That's your job. That's your primary job. To be a light for yourself and for others. To help others remember that the light is also available to them. Another choice for peace is always, no matter what the ego story is, no matter how complex or complicated the ego makes the story, you're always one simple choice away from peace, and that's called free will. And so use your free will to choose peace instead of the ego's delusions. And so you have control. When you make the conscious decision to align with the mind of God, then you will feel fulfilled because you're doing what you were created by God to do. Any other comments or questions? Jen, Mary with a Y. Everybody good?
Everybody good?
Nice.
Mary wants to say something.
Who does?
Mary.
Mary with an I or a Y?
Yeah. Why? Come on.
No.
Come on. Say
Go ahead,
something.
Mary.
I'm just basking in the capital T truth.
Yes, the truth, because the truth is within us all. And so anything that I say that it's not something that you don't know. You already know everything that I say. Because when it touches your heart, it's because it's already in your heart. The truth is already within you. And so all I'm doing is reminding you of the truth within you. And then when you hear that truth that you already know, that's why you nod your head. Because yeah, he said something that it's true. Yeah, I know it's true. And it's not something that you learn. It's something that's already within you. And so that's why you recognize when somebody's saying something that you already know is true, because it touches your heart where the truth resides. Simply waiting for you to turn its way. All you have to do is turn towards the truth in you, which is love, which is light, which is peace, which is joy, which is compassion, which is charity, which is hope, which is healing, which is health, happiness. Every single expression of love is the truth within you. And every expression of love is already inside of you, simply waiting for you to look its way. And the ego is just helping you practice looking love's way and letting go of your delusions. Therefore, you shine brighter and brighter each day, simply by the choices you make. And
So it's like dark. It's asking you for the light.
I'm sorry, what?
It's like a dark room that is asking for some light. Once the light enters, there is no more darkness.
Yes. Once the light enters, the darkness dissipates,
Disappears.
disappears. Yes. Yes.
And
Oh.
and we energetically can inject that light.
Yeah.
In the dark moments where it's like someone or we could feel down, depressed, not feeling well, in pain, anything. The moment where we, decide I don't like it, I don't like this how I'm feeling, I really want better. And before, I used to open a page on my Course in Miracles. I used to travel with this book any place I will go. In my luggage, will have my Europe or Peru or Cancun, or, I will have it with me. Lately, I need to continue taking it with me because it helped me have a 20-year marriage. It helped me have a lot of peace, not to focus on what somebody else was doing, but to focus on what I was doing. I was appreciated. I used to be respected. I used to be loved. And I remember his comments were, "Oh, she's a good wife, like my best wife. I don't know how you could put up with me." He will say that in, pick up a microphone in an event or with friends and family and stuff like that. So I feel like every page talk to us. Yeah, every page talk to us, and it's finding the connection with the message, and breathing in it, being present in this truth, believe it. No 50, no 60, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, let's try this week every night before going to bed for 10 minutes. Just ask God to fill us with His light, and to let us allow God to help us experience His light. so we can recall our own. And just spend 10 minutes with God and allowing Him to show you the light that's within you and all of us. And the more you get to practice that, the more the light will become apparent in every single person that you interact with or meet, or that God sends your way. Any final comments or questions?
Great class.
Great, great class.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit?
Thank you.
It's filling up this room with light already.
Yes.
More light,
Right.
light, shining bright and brighter.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, let's shine bright this week, and let's always invite God to come in and be and shine that light. Let us
Shine
see
the
it.
light to
Let's see
somebody
light.
else. Mhm.
Yes. All right, folks.
Thank you.
That's all.
Amen.
It was a
Thank you,
pleasure.
everyone.
And God willing, we'll see each other Monday night again, next Monday, if not sooner.
You will see tomorrow. And my
Yes. That's okay.
Thank you,
Right,
guys.
yeah.
Have a great night. Be
Have a
well and stay
Good,
safe.
good night, everybody.